What's up, everyone? I'm Rick Knight. Welcome back to another video here at The Bad Philosopher. The APA recently put out guidelines for men and boys, guidelines for psychologists to follow when dealing with men and boys about traditional masculinity, because, you know, our toxic masculinity is just harming the world. Let's get right into this garbage article. This is from the New York Times, which is the holy grail of journalism for the progressive left. Traditional masculinity can hurt boys, say new APA guidelines. According to the APA, our masculinity can hurt boys, so we hurt ourselves. I mean, we're so used to hurting women and girls and gay people and transgender. Now we hurt our own kind just by being of the traditional masculinity. But if we are of the, the new age masculinity, then we're not harmful. So in other words, if we are a soy boy, tight jean, beard wearing, feminized, social justice warrior, then we won't hurt boys and girls and all the other groups out there. Okay, the American Psychological Association has released several guides for psychologists who work with people belonging to certain groups, members of ethnic groups, linguistic minorities, for example, or women and girls. It did not have a guide for working with males, in part because they were historically considered the norms. But in August, the APA approved this first set of official guidelines for working with boys and men because, as we know, men and boys are considered the norm, but all the other groups are all brand new. They're not norm. They just arrived on planet Earth in the last decade, and we've been here all this time, so we're the norm. The guidelines, 10 in all, posit that males who are socialized to conform to traditional masculinity ideology are often negatively affected in terms of mental and physical health. So, I mean, pretty much what they just did was they just painted all men from a traditional masculine standpoint, right? If you were raised with the traditional masculinity, the values that we once held, then it often negatively affects our health and our mental and physical health. Bullshit. Complete bullshit. Most men in this country between certain ages, I would assume, I'm just assuming, men maybe in their 30s and above, maybe in their 40s and above, have a traditional, what's called a traditional masculine, ideology. And it doesn't affect our health, mental or physical. There's other things that affect our health mentally or physically. It's not our masculinity. This is just garbage. And of course, if you read through the whole article, there's no citation, there's no scientific study, there's no correlation. There's nothing there. It's just a bunch of garbage that they just threw out there. Just to push a narrative. That's all this is about, is a leftist, a radical leftist ideology being promoted out there. Let's go back to the article. What else do we have here? Guidelines. Okay. They acknowledge that ideas about masculinity vary across cultures. Of course, it does. Cultures, age groups, and ethnicities. But they point to common themes. Anti-feminism right here. I mean, you just know something like this was going to pop up. In the next paragraph, the document was written in academic language, not built to go viral, but last week an APA article about the guidelines and then a tweet about that article captured widespread attention. Negative comments flooded in on Twitter as well as from conservative news outlets. So in the paragraph right above this, they're already mentioning, feminism, anti-feminism, and, being of the, the traditional masculinity and anti-feminism. And then the next article, conservative news views, it says it right here. They're just making this link in this short, couple paragraphs, making a link between the masculinity being anti-feminism and then, what the conservatives had to say that they didn't like this idea. They were flooding with comments. I mean, it's obvious it's a narrative that they're pumping out there. You could be anti-feminist and not be masculine like most women who are not feminist, and then there's a lot of women who are anti-feminist because they don't like the political and the philosophy of this third wave feminism. So they're anti-feminist and they're not masculine because they're women. So this is just nonsense. You're just putting all people in one basket and that's it. You're just pushing a narrative. You know, first of all, feminism nowadays is nothing but Marxism for her. It's postmodernism for her. That's all that is. It is garbage. Let's go down. Let's see what Laura Ingraham from Fox News, from Fox News show, said. Traditional masculinity seems to be, in this report at least, conflated with being a pig or a creep or a Harvey Weinstein kind of person. I agree with Laura Ingraham 100% on that comment. They are mixing in people like Harvey Weinstein. You know, it's not even that masculinity is the reason why Harvey Weinstein did that. He did that because he's a piece of shit. You understand? That's the type of person he is. Bill Cosby is a piece of shit. That's why he did what he did. Men who rape women or other men or children are pieces of shit. Not because they're masculine. You know, them being masculine is not, masculinity is not the reason for this. There's other psychological reason that causes men to do the things they do. That's what psychology is about. It's about the human behavior and the processes of the mind. It's not about their masculinity, because there are women out there that commit horrible acts as well. So, but you can't blame it on their masculinity, correct? So this is just garbage. It's just another way of beating up men. That's all this article is. Another way to beat us up and knock us down. Let's go down further. There was a few other things. Okay, the primary purpose of the new guidelines, said Frederick Rabinowitz, is he's one of the lead writers and professors of psychology at the University of Redlands, was to help men and boys lead happy and healthy lives. You can do that not by changing their masculinity. That's not going to make them happy and healthy. There's other ways to raise young children, to raise boys, and to help men, to make them happier, to lead healthier lives, not by eliminating masculinity. That is not going to help anyone be happier or healthier, because they're not masculine, or they're not the right type of masculine. This is straight up leftist ideology, a narrative from the leftist movement. That's all this is. This is garbage. He also said, we see that men have higher suicide rates. Yes, there's higher suicide rates in men. You know where there's highest suicide rates? In transgender, in the transgender community. I think it's roughly 40% tried to commit suicide. They attempted suicide, or they succeeded in suicide, and it's mostly in the transgender that are transitioning from male to female, which says what? That even if you eliminate masculinity, you are not going to eliminate the problem that you have that leads to you committing suicide. There's other psychological issues that go along with it. That in itself ruins your whole argument. Just look up the suicide rate with the transgender community, and you can see that it's mostly the men who go from male, or trying to go from male to female, are the ones who are committing, on average, more suicide than the other way around. So, again, the masculinity thing is not going to prevent the suicides. It also said that men have more cardiovascular disease. Yes, we do. We also engage in more riskier behaviors. We also, on average, smoke more and abuse drugs and alcohol. We're also, more prone to not live healthy lives and eat, the right foods. I'm a plumber by trade. You don't see many women doing plumbing or doing construction. We are working in a hazardous environment with the things that we inhale, the things that we're breathing in, the things that we're in contact with, the chemicals that are around us, breaking into walls, into ceilings, inhaling all this dust and stuff on a job site could lead to us having heart disease and other problems. Also, we're more prone to smoking. I'm a smoker. The last week, I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes all week, and I've been really trying to cut down. It is a terrible habit. But again, we're more prone to smoke and to drugs, and to abuse drugs and alcohol and other stuff that can lead to cardiovascular disease and other diseases. Not our masculinity. So this is just a low-hanging fruit of an article, and I can't believe that it actually it's passing like that. That same clip I was reading also said about us. men are lonelier as they get older. Okay, so we get older and we're lonelier because we don't have anyone with us. Then women tend to deal with being alone better than men. It's probably just something part of our evolutionary psychology. Getting rid of our masculinity is not going to make us not be lonely anymore. I mean, this is just stupid. There's no citation. There's no reference to anything this person is writing. This is just garbage. He also said, we're trying to help men by expanding their emotional repertoire and not trying to take away the strengths that men have. Yes, you are. You're definitely trying to take away the strengths that we have. You're definitely trying to beat us up. You're definitely trying to knock us down and for us to lose control. It's a particular type of men that you're looking at. I think if you read between the lines and you look at the article, pretty much really what you're saying is men on the right. This is all political. You're basically saying that Republicans, conservatives, or anyone who don't agree with our far leftist political orthodoxy has a traditional masculinity ideology, and these are the dangers involved in that, and we need new guidelines to try to steer men away from that so they can vote Democrat. That's pretty much really all you're saying in this article, and we all see it, and we see it for what it is, and that's pretty much it. It's a very piss poor philosophy that they have. This is not psychology. This is not based on real science. I'm sorry. This is nothing more than an opinion, and it's a very stupid opinion. So that's all I got. I just wanted to share that with everybody and see if anyone out there read this article and got a similar thoughts as me. If so, or if you disagree, just write a comment in the comment section. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.